All right, so we are now ready to actually find the epicenter of this earthquake. And here's what we now know. And I hope that you can see this okay. We now know that Portland is exactly 1,500 kilometers from the earthquake. So on this scale on the map, I've put a P for Portland there. Then we know Austin is exactly 1,875 kilometers from the quake. I've put a dot and an A for Austin. And then Bismarck is our furthest from the quake with our longest lag time. It's 2,125 kilometers from the quake. Now, here's the key word you kept hearing me say. Exactly. But the problem is we have no idea in what direction from the epicenter these three locations are. But we will know. Now, this is kind of a weird term. The process we're learning is called triangulation, but we're going to draw circles. And you might think, Mrs. Fickus, why would they call it triangulation if we're going to draw circles? And the answer to that is we're going to draw 3 circles. So you'll notice that I'm moving in here this blue compass, and this is going to allow me to draw circles that have the exact radius that it should. So right here is actually the 0 mark. And I'm going to put this little swirly part of the compass there. And it honestly doesn't matter which one that we do first, so I'll do them in the order that we calculated. So what I've done is I've gotten the hole on the Austin dot. Now I know that I can draw a circle around Austin that is exactly the right radius. So I find Austin right here on the map. I put the swivel point on Austin's location. I put my pen in the first hole. And I'm drawing a circle around Austin. Okay, now here's what we know. We know that the epicenter of that earthquake is not inside the circle, not outside the circle, but directly on the circle. But right now we have no idea in what direction. So we're going to move now to Bismarck. Bismarck is our second location. Now every once in a while I'll get a student who won't change the radius, and you've got to because Bismarck's further. So I go back to the scale, I adjust, and I get the Bismarck dot in there. Now I move to Bismarck, and Bismarck is in North Dakota, so it's right up here. I'm going to put my compass on that spot. And this part's a little tricky. You got to hold her down. So I go all the way around Bismarck. Sorry, taking a minute. Okay, now I have 2 circles. And so now get this right. In, on, or outside. Where is the earthquake? In, on, or outside the circles? And the answer to that is it has to be directly on the circles, but not just on one circle, on both. And so right now there are only 2 places where these overlap. Right here, close to San Diego, and out here, Washington, D.C. Sometimes people will say, oh, look at that overlap. That's inside both circles. The earthquake can't be there. It has to be directly on both circles. But the problem is we have no idea where this earthquake is until we get a 3rd circle. Now you might think, oh, Mrs. Fickus, come on, I bet it's California. The San Andreas fault line is there. Well, folks, you can have cracks in the crust anywhere. So you have to follow through, and let's see what our real epicenter is. So I have to go back again to the compass, and I have to adjust for Portland. So I'm getting the Portland dot from the scale there. And now Portland is in Oregon, so up in the Pacific Northwest. So I find Portland's location. I've already changed my compass. And I'm making this 3rd circle. And ta-da! So, do you notice that Washington, D.C. is no longer a contender? The Portland circle doesn't even come close. So, the first follow-up question, what city is near the epicenter of the earthquake? You should be putting San Diego, and then finish up the rest of those follow-ups.